Good afternoon.
The president has just presented the 2025 budget. I'd like to know your thoughts if their measures which poverty, if they are also the economic for their pockets. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this has been a very wonderful joint session, starting from the Senate President, who delivered a very wonderful welcome speech and address, followed by the wonderful speech and presentation made by the President on 2025 budget, and the remarks and closing words of the Right Honourable Speaker. It's been a combination of hope-lifting presentations, and the budget as presented and read out by Mr. President is a very great budget with all the promising actions that will revamp our economy. So we've just received the budget. We don't have the total breakdown. We'll go back and look at the budget and look at the sectoral allocations. We summarized the major provisions made in the budget in defense, education, and healthcare. So we'll go and look at it and see the distribution of these things, including infrastructure, across Nigeria. Because what we have been calling for has always been a budget that will be all-inclusive in addressing the problems of Nigeria and carrying all the parts of Nigeria, along. So look at how these distributions have been made in the budget, and then make our legislative input in all of them. On the whole, I think the budget is a very welcome one. It inspires hope, and I believe that its faithful implementation will help Nigeria to address its nagging problems.
Well, my name is Dawes. I represent Toro Federal Constituency from Bauchi State. While the budget will surely address the issue of inflation, one, economic deficit, insecurity, agriculture, the health sector, and education, so short with 45.7 trillion budget for the 2025, if fully implemented by the executive, then we'll have more. Nigerians will see that yes, they have a country to live. As it is now, we are aware of the difficulties that Nigerians are facing. High rate of inflation, insecurity, and so much. With this budget, we hope that we'll see a drastic improvement in so many sectors.
Yes. Peace, prosperity, and restoration.
Yes.
Now, do you think there are shortfalls of those budgets?
Not immediately because of the data. But why I said so is because you have a reserve of $42 billion according to the president. The total budget is $30 billion. So mostly you minus 30 from 42, you still have a surplus of $10 billion. Although the budget is saying 47 trillion, 47.9 trillion naira, expenditure is about 34 trillion. So deficit budget is about 13 trillion. So you have a depletion of 3% in the GDP. Don't forget that in 2025 you have a growth of about 4%. So I think it's promising. And the central focus of the budget is on education, security, and then of course reassuring the infrastructural development. The only thing I think the president should have more talk about, maybe next year I will look at that, is the need to complain about our project. And it's one of two of these projects. But he also started his own project. Kind of about Sokoto, Lagos, Badagry and Sokoto. Calabar and Maiduguri, and the Coastal Road. These are the projects he indicated himself, and he's desperate to complete them before he leaves office. So I'm sure it's a good one.
Lastly, this donation, this budget of 47.9 trillion naira seems to double that of last year.
It's a 45% increase.
Exactly, sir. Do you see positivity in this, looking at the challenges Nigerians are facing today?
Yeah, if you want to take away the challenge, you have to increase the budget. Otherwise, you know how money to spend to solve the problem or the challenges. So it's a 45% increase from last year. Last year was about 27 trillion. And now you are about 47.9 trillion, about 48. Our capital project last year was about $8 billion. But now I think more will be the detail of the budget in terms of capital expenses, will be given by the Minister of Finance or the Minister of Economy. But the President have talked much about the fact that revenue projection will be 34 trillion against 49 spending, 48 spending. I mean, leaving you about 13 trillion deficits. And they have told you that the share of that deficit is 3% depletion in the GDP. But you expect a growth of about 4% in the incoming year. The budget is futuristic, and then we should leave it at that. I think it's promising.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So, Mr. President has just presented restoration.
Well, the assumptions are good. My concern is the 15 trillion that will be paid as set aside for payment of debt. Because otherwise, all the assumptions are good. We also hope that the petrol, as it is now, is hovering around $73-74 per barrel. The budget was indicated on $15 per barrel. Already we have a deficit of about $1.5 each barrel. So I hope that we'll be able to realize the points we are trying to realize. And we also hope that there will be peace in the data so that we will be able to get into 0.06 billion barrels per day. Otherwise, all the assumptions I didn't capture the answer report, but it talks about inflation, how inflation is eating into our pockets. He stated that there will be a reduction from the current 34% inflation rate to 15%. Let's hope that the budget will be implemented in such a manner that inflation will reduce to 15%.
Now, looking at last year's budget and this year budget tends to, seems to be increased. What do you really think it portends?
If you make a comparison with the last year's budget, where our recurrent expenditure is higher than the recurrent expenditure, and looking at the proposal which he proposes today, you look at it, the capital expenditure today is 15% of his 47.9 trillion has been proposed, while the recurrent expenditure, that is where my fear is now 48% as compared to last year's, where last year's recurrent expenditure was less than 40%. So there is an increase compared to the 2004 and 2005. Now, if you look at the proposal, he says it is a budget of restoration. Fine, we agree. Our prayers is, if that budget, as he said, is a budget for restoration, peace, whatever in this country, we pray the funds will be available to be able to fund the budget. If you look at the budget, look at 2023 budget, it's still a deficit. We had two budgets in 2023, which will lapse by December this year. We had 2024 budget, which is also two budgets. The main budget and the supplementary, which of course will not likely lapse by the end of December. Now we're having 2025 budget, which we don't know when it's going to lapse. So this is our concern. Yes, the presentation was good, perfect. The principles or the ideology or the thinking or the foresight of the budget is good. but implementation is our own concern. I come from the opposition. Then, even coming from the opposition, if something you're going to do for Nigerians is good, yeah, we will praise you, it is good. But our hope is you'll be able to have the funds to balance the budget, fund the budget, let the common man feel the impact of the budget. This is my major concern.
Thank you so much, sir.
Well, just like Mr. President said, budgets of renewable, say budget of consolidation. I think what this budget will do at the end of the day is to help cover the economy. I was about to say. I think with this budget, by the time it's fully implemented, we can be rest assured that the economy is going to be stimulated and at the end of the day, it will cover. So, I can see right now how we can reach out to the MDAs after the passage and the immediate implementation of the government, because it doesn't really make any sense. The lawmakers are going to work day and night to ensure that stipulated time, but on the front of the assembly, they are going to delay the budget for 6 months before the government's implementation. So that's why we have an issue. And as a committee in charge of the local government, we are going to depend on the MPAs to ensure that what used to happen in the past is not going to be what we expected this time. We expect that this budget, as soon as it is done, as soon as it is back in health, it should be implemented immediately, so that the purpose which we pass on time will not be defeated. I think that's our concern right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.